There we go. So today we are coming together to talk about the voice of the earth, to talk about how the voice of the earth lives inside of each and every single one of us, and our ability to come into our sacred remembrance, to be a vessel and a voice piece for the voice of the earth. We're going to be talking specifically about working with the waters and water rituals, the voice of the water and the memory of the waters, the memory of the waters that wrap around this planet, holding stories and intelligence that aren't regularly accessed by our collective consciousness. We're going to be talking about planetary grid lines and ley lines, energetic access portal points where you can begin to activate more of this deep multi-dimensional remembrance of who and what you really are, specifically talking about Mount Shasta in Northern California. And we're also going to be talking about the voice as a portal, not just for the voice of the earth, the voice of our planet and our feminine ability to be advocates for all sentient living beings, but the voice as a tool for our personal transformation, for our perfect health, and how we can come into harmony with our mind, body, and spirit through singing. Because singing is such an incredibly transformative practice that opens the heart, that brings breath into the body, and that helps us express creatively a vision, a feeling, a sensation, something that inspires a piece that can't necessarily just be communicated with our words. So thank you so much for being here today for this hour-long gathering. Please engage in the chat. As you engage in the chat, we'll go through, we'll answer any questions that you have. I want to know what your insights are as well. I know that we are all wisdom keepers here in our own accord. My name is Marlena Benedicto. I'm the founder of Gaia Temple, which is a 508c1a, a sovereignty structure. It's an international community where we unite light workers, artists, activists, healers, impact entrepreneurs, and impact investors who are really looking to create a positive change for the planet and be a beneficial presence for all sentient life. And we do that through intentional gatherings, we do that through events, we do that through art, music, creativity, and sharing stories together, which is what we're doing today. I'm so incredibly grateful to have here with me Maggie Rose and Dawn Renee. Let's pin you both up here. So I'm going to add you guys to the spotlight. Thank you so much, sisters, for being here. You are both huge inspirations to me in like radically unique ways. Maggie and I found each other in Hawaii back during the COVID days, and she actually helped found Gaia Temple, and we took over residency of this beautiful historical chapel right on the shores and use music and vibrational medicine every single day. Maggie is a visionary when it comes to community development. And I would even say, like, what those systems designs get to look like as we reimagine what's possible for humanity working together. Um, Maggie, is there anything that you'd like to share?
Oh, thank you so much, Marley. It's so great to be here and meet new beautiful souls. And I will be a part of the Shasta retreat, and I'm so excited. I've been going to Shasta for so many years and just really tuning in with the land there, and have gone there even with different elders, and they've explained why it's so sacred and where different vortexes are and what you want to do with the different vortexes and with different ley lines and with even different waters on the mountain and the surrounding lands. And so, really excited to be introducing that. And on my day-to-day life, I do healing work. I work with a specific modality that helps core wounds and helps to heal different traumas and karmas of the soul. And so that is a little bit more about me, and I look forward to knowing all of you.
Thanks, Maggie. Yeah, we'll be
Mhm.
talking about what light working is. Maggie's definitely a light worker. She works on the individual and collective level. So I look forward to you sharing more about that. And Dawn's over here with Emily. Hi, you too. Sending you so much love. Dawn is a beautiful sister who's come into my life this past year. And you know, whenever you meet somebody and you're like, that's my family. And every time I see Dawn, like my nervous system goes, "Thank you.
Yeah.
Here is Dawn." And she shows up with this heart of service that is so genuine. Like everywhere she goes, she's looking, she's listening, she's bringing joy. And Dawn, I really appreciate you. So,
Oh,
on top of just bringing her care, working as a traveling caregiver, really physically helping people with their health, their mental health, their emotional health, their physical health. She's also an outstanding performing artist. She travels around the country singing this powerful voice. And most recently, there's this incredible hit going viral where Dawn is singing about the sea. And so, can you please tell us more, Dawn? Introduce yourself.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this. I am so grateful. As soon as you even said the word Mount Shasta, you hadn't even told me what it was for, and my heart was a yes. And so to find out what you were doing, it was even like, oh, this is a yes, 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 yes. Okay, yes, yes, please. um, so the sea is a song that came to me. It actually channeled out of me while I was making dinner. It was something that I wasn't expecting. A friend was playing some music notes, and it just inspired this entire song that came out. And it's a song about returning really to ourselves, but the sea is what we're returning to because it's all one. We're all part of this beautiful thing that's happening here. And it's like the sea was calling me back to myself and back to it. And so being called to the West Coast and being called to the East Coast and then to all the little crystal grid and ley lines along the way, this sea song has really been showing me that it's just me bringing all of this music to these different little spots that need this message to go out and for all of us to come back to ourselves. And that's what the sea song is all about for me.
And I'm so curious, Dawn, when you have gone through the journey with your voice itself as an instrument and a vehicle where you're sharing this message, what transformation have you touched inside of yourself?
Oh my gosh, it is unfolding every single moment of every time that I sing. It's like magic. I'm seeing parts of myself that I didn't know existed before. The healing that's happening now is I can't deny what I'm feeling. There's this connectivity that happens when we're using our voices and we focus our attention and our breath and we stay in the moment with ourselves and we stay present but out of the way. And it's a magic thing that happens when you can get to that space right there and just allow it to be and to breathe through you because your body knows and your spirit knows what is supposed to be happening. It's just, it's a beautiful healing thing that keeps happening over and unfolding every single day.
That's so beautiful. Yes. And you're inspiring me. So something that I'd really love to do is actually to have us drop in to a moment of shared presence together. You know, we're here and we are having this opportunity to share our collective wisdom. Because even though I'm the person speaking, or Maggie or Donna speaking, like you being a part of this gathering means your awareness, your energy, your heart, your consciousness is also helping our channels. And whenever we can start to understand that creativity is a shared experience, and we take turns opening our throat chakra and being the instrument, we can really start to come into a harmonize. And so I'm going to guide us into a harmonized meditation. This is a very simple practice we'll do for just about 3 minutes, okay? So if you're at home, if you're following along, I'm gonna invite you to sit up straight or lay down nice and still. If you're driving a car, you can follow along, but it gets a bit hypnotic, so don't trance out, okay? Be safe, be responsible, know yourself, okay? And and so what we're gonna do is a very simple humming technique. Humming is actually a vibrational medicine tool, and whenever we start to use our vocal cords vibrate when we're singing and when we're humming. And when our vocal cords vibrate, they rest right against the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve begins to vibrate as well. Now, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the human body. It connects up to the brain stem, up into the hypothalamus that regulates our emotions, and then it runs all the way down through our body, branching out like roots of a tree, touching our organs, reaching all the way down for women to our cervix. And so, whenever we're feeling anxiety, stress, overwhelm, whenever we need to really become centered, present, and grounded, doing this very simple humming technique, this harmonized technique, is going to help bring you into your center and into the present moment, opening the heart and relaxing the nervous system. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and play the note that correlates with the throat chakra since we're talking about the voice today to open up the throat. So wherever you are, go ahead and bring yourself into a comfortable position. I invite you to close your eyes, bringing the awareness inwards. And beginning first just by connecting to your breath. Breathing in through the nose. And exhaling, letting the breath go. Breathing in through the nose, feeling the sensation of air passing through the nostrils, filling the lungs, feeling the diaphragm expand, and exhaling out the backside of the body, letting the breath go. And again, breathing in through the nose, nice, slow, and deep, filling the lungs. Exhaling the breath all the way down to the sit bones, down to the hips, relaxing inside of the body, slowing ourselves down. And I invite you to consciously relax your jaw and to rest the top of your tongue against the roof of your mouth, pressing your tongue into the soft palate of the roof of your mouth. And then we're going to breathe in through the nose, and as we exhale, we're going to begin to hum on the exhale. Breathing in, exhaling with the hum. For about 90 seconds more, we're just going to hum with the exhale. Inhaling and quietly exhaling, letting the breath settle, bringing the gaze inward, feeling the inside of the body. Just scanning the inside of the body, noticing any sensations. Using your breath to scan the inside of the body, noticing any emotions. And see if you can just feel the inside of the body free from story. So if any story, if any thoughts are arising, just put those to the side, feeling the sensation, feeling the breath. And as you feel ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes again, coming back into the shared space and just noticing how you feel. We're now in this collective field, harmonized together, feeling the power of our voice. And, whenever we use the voice to drop deeper into the feelings of the body, the emotions, sensations, our body begins to communicate with us. And our body's always trying to communicate with us more so than just the mind is. And when we listen to the wisdom of our body, we can start to tap into that flow state of being. We can start to trust life and our environment so much more because we're feeling those primal instincts. And part of really coming alive inside of the body and letting the body communicate with you is also getting in touch with our extrasensory abilities. And those extrasensory abilities allow us to begin to communicate with the elements, such as water, fire, air, and earth. Today, we're really looking at what it looks like to be connecting to the sentience of the earth, understanding that the earth is alive and it's here communicating with us. It's not just something that we walk on. And so I'd love to hear from you, Maggie Rose. When did you first feel that the earth was alive and communicating with you? And it's
Mm,
not just something you're walking on.
mm. I love that question, and thank you for bringing that awareness. And it was definitely when I really started my yoga practice and started meditation, I could finally tune into the earth's heartbeat. I remember meditation saying, see if you can feel the earth's heartbeat. And then just really listening. And then someone put a crystal in my hand and was like, see if you can feel the crystal's heartbeat. And then I literally did. And it was shocking at that point because, I've held rocks and crystals before and I've never felt anything. But then as soon as you bring awareness to that, you really can. And so I've had a really great privilege of studying with two very masterful grid workers, and they work with other masterful grid workers around the world to track the grids, to compare notes. And what they have been saying is that since 2017, the grid lines started to amplify on the planet. And if people look back, 2017 was where a lot of people started to awaken or had really intense experiences, all for their awakening. And when those grid lines came to the planet, they were amplified every solstice and equinox. And now, though, the grids have really harmonized, and that's why the Schumann resonance has been so high all the time. And so since 2017, they were building and building and building. And now they are obviously higher than ever. And this is about, from my understanding, and I'd have to double check with them actually, this is like they're peaking right now. And this means that anything that's not in harmony with those grid lines for this new Earth will have to go. And so it's all about harmonizing your body and your internal circulatory system because we have meridians and we have an energy body, and so does the earth. The earth has meridians and the earth has an energy body. And so if we harmonize within, we are helping the earth harmonize as she goes through this beautiful transition. And so I can speak a lot longer, Marley. Is there anything in particular you want to go into with this?
I think what we'll do is we'll have a discussion. We'll go back and forth between you, me, and Dawn, and then I'll
Perfect.
continue asking questions, and I'll make sure at the end there's nothing that you're like, I didn't say this.
Perfect. Absolutely. I don't want to speak too long, so let me know.
I think
Praise the Lord.
that
Yeah.
was that was a really beautiful opening, and I remember it was actually in 2017, a year after my boys woke up, that I started being guided to these water places and told to sing. My intuition was just really waking up on another level, and it didn't make sense. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I really didn't have a choice. And it wasn't until I met you in Hawaii and you introduced me to Deodova and I saw her music and her albums that were based on planetary points, and you finally explained ley lines and planetary grid work in a way that I could understand. I never understood what it was before, that I realized my body was moving energy, and that energy that was then being emitted through singing to help the balancing not only of my personal being, but of the planet. And that's when we can start to understand what light working is. And there's many forms of it. This is one example that we're looking at right now. Um, so super beautiful. And Dawn, I'm really curious, when did you first feel that the earth was alive and communicating with you?
Honestly, I've been communicating with the earth my whole life. I've been talking with animals. It just only got stronger and stronger. And in the last 3 years, it has gotten so strong that it has put me on a loop of the Southeast, going from ley lines in Nashville over to the Appalachian Mountains and like Mount Mitchell area, and doing music down that whole corridor, all the way down into Georgia, all the way down into Blue Springs and High Springs, Florida, and then back around again. And I didn't really understand why or how that came to be. It's just what kept unfolding. And we're sharing our music. Like I feel a calling to share my music in all of these places. And I hear that, we got to go over here and then we go over there and share our music. And we just, wherever it's meant to happen, we just follow this inner knowing that's been happening. And it's been super strong the last 3 years.
Hmm. That's so beautiful. Yeah, it said Saraswati, the Hindu goddess, sang existence into reality. And whenever we get into the quantum physics, that shows us that nature is both particle and vibration, but largely there's a lot of vibration making our reality. We can
Mhm.
understand that your healing work, that our individual healing work, creates an instrument that's putting that frequency out, emitting into a community, into a space, being that alchemization. And
And it's
and and
been, I was going to
Mhm.
say, it also helped me realize what my mantra is actually. Helped me with that too. My mantra is my presence is my service.
Mm,
And so everywhere I go, that's how I live my life. I gave up everything 3 years ago. I gave up the house for this. I gave up the storage for this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is what I'm doing. It's singing to the ley lines and to the waters and to the trees and all the things in between and the airwaves. It's necessary. This work is necessary right now, and we all need to be using our voices.
mhm.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful. And so then here we are. We're going to be co-creating a retreat in July that I'll be sharing with you at the end of this call, because of course you're invited. We'd love to have you there with us. And this retreat is all about singing, ley lines, light work, harmonized voice activation, and specifically on Mount Shasta. And I'm curious, Maggie, what is Mount Shasta to you beyond what people say it is?
Hmm. Mount Shasta is such a sacred ground. And so it is considered the root chakra of the world. Yet it has very galactic energy. There are lots of sightings there of UFOs and Sasquatches and mystical realms. And so it's considered a very, very sacred mountain for a reason. And there is also very sacred water around the mountain, springs on the mountain and around the lands. And these waters just hold such pristine, crystalline energy, and they are so, so cleansing on all the different levels and layers. And so every time you drink these waters, you jump in these waters, you sing and give love to these waters, you are just so amplified and so cleansed by the waters and by Shasta. And there's so much magic and synchronicity there. It is definitely a very important grid point on the planet.
And can you explain, like, when someone's working with these sacred waters, when somebody's working with these sacred energies, it's like, that sounds nice. What does that mean? Like, what actually shifts inside a person, whether it's their
Yeah.
body or their mind, whenever they enter a place like Mount Shasta?
I remember many years ago, I went to Mount Shasta and I was carrying some heartache. And I was with one of my spiritual teachers at the time. And he said, just keep purifying in the waters. And since that time, I've just been able to really sit with that and, go into the waters, put your entire body in freezing water and just feel the wonders that it does. There's this one spring on top of the mountain, and for the water to come out of that spring, it has to go through the mountain and the rocks, the soil for at least 50 years before it's able to even come out of that spring. And so this water is also old. It holds memory and it holds, um, some say, galactic energies that are really beneficial to drink and just purifying on so many different levels. So it really depends on um, if you want to get into the energetics or, the 3D science things. They've done a lot of experiments. Dr. Emoto has been to Shasta, and you can look up what he's found online. But it's definitely something to also just experience for yourself and to have an open mind. Mhm.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to, what happens when you meditate?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a personal experience. Thank you. And
hmm
Dawn, I know that you're home for a very long time before you toured where you are now in the United States, was the Pacific Northwest. And I'm curious, what is your relationship with Mount Shasta?
It's funny. It's one of the mountains that I have not been to, but it's always been one of the ones I've wanted to go to.
Perfect.
So that was another thing when you said Mount Shasta, I went, "Oh my gosh, there it is." I was just waiting for it to call, and as soon as I heard it, it was just yes. My body said, "Yes, we're going to figure out how to go to Mount Shasta."
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's even like your song, she calls to me, the sea,
She
she
calls to
calls to
me.
me,
Yeah,
but yeah, she calls.
she
Oh,
does. All
it's
the things
beautiful.
to call. Yeah.
Have you ever had an experience where you actually felt land speak to you,
Oh,
or like where you were speaking to the land and it responded back to you?
multiple situations. Yeah. But even when I do a meditation, I feel like I root into the earth and I become part of the earth. So it's like there's roots coming out of me in interacting with the ground, and I just feel like I'm part of it.
Mhm. And
That,
how does interacting with the earth and feeling that, how does that impact you?
oh my gosh, it helps me find ground and peace within myself. It reminds me that I'm supported 100%. Um, and it just makes me feel like this is whatever I'm feeling, it's feeling, and vice versa. So, how to find balance within myself because then I find my world has balance too.
Mhm. That's such a good way, especially like I know you work a lot with crystals as well. And so it's like
Yeah.
crystals, I always say crystals have a lot of our star ancestry, a lot of the star energy because it's been permeated. These minerals have been permeated and permeated and permeated by starlight for so long before they find themselves to us, where we
Yeah.
extract them, right? And then we have all this ancient star information, and then to be able to work with the roots, with the mycelial, with the soil, and
Yeah.
then the ocean's like a whole nother one. They have
Yeah. It's a whole other layer.
such unique intelligence. It's like finding one another. It's like finding your best friend. You're like, oh my God,
And
where
how do
have
you
you been?
embody? And how do we embody each element? How do I've spent so much time just paying attention to what I see in things. Then, where do I find myself in that? And then how am I working through that? How am I working with it? Where's my harmony? I love harmony. Harmony is my I love singing harmony. I love finding harmony. It is my joy.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's like I find that it's not just a mineral or water, but locations have imprints, they have memories, and there are ancestors that live there. And um, there was a time where I was going to Mount Shasta a lot. I was taking many, many pilgrimages to Mount Shasta and being with the water and being with the prayer. I was moving through a large period of surrender and transition. And at the peak of like, I'm like, this has got to be it. Like, there's nothing else to let go of. Like, this is the peak of what I was really working through. I was camping out in the middle of nowhere by myself, and I had just gone into a process with me and the land. And that night when I was sleeping, I was in this dream space, but it was those kinds of dreams where you feel like you're awake, legitimately feel like you're awake. And um I was sleeping and I felt an ancestor, an indigenous ancestor, pick up my feet and start rocking my feet. Like, whenever someone's working on opening your hips and loosening your low back and your hips, and they started rocking my feet and rocking my feet. And then in this unhuman way, it became them spinning me and spinning me and spinning me and spinning me and spinning me. And they moved. And then all of a sudden, I was sitting upright around a fire with a community. And we were all sitting around the fire and looking into the flames. And the message, follow the fire, came through. And it was a clear marking for me and going from the initiation from the path of air, the element of air. After being in the element of water for years, I transitioned to element of air. And this was the beginning of the transition of element into fire. And
Mhm.
that was the purification and the process to bring me there. And that happened on that really sacred land in Mount Shasta. And so whenever we come to the land and we bring our prayers for ourselves, for our planet, for the collective, we have support in these places.
Mhm. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful story. And I've heard many like that, different, but there's something to the spirits of the land there and the guardians and the elementals that are so, so present. And when you come with that purity of heart of just wanting to heal, be in service in different ways, they really, really step in and help in such miraculous ways. It's very, very powerful. And, from the etheric world to literally the physical world, when you're just in Mount Shasta and you'll run into the perfect person to tell you where to go, and all these different unseen helpers as well, and
Yeah.
seen.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
So, this is something this is so kind of moving into the conversation about the voice as a bridge. Don, I'm wondering, can you tell us about the primal voice, like the voice before conditioning happens, before performance happens?
That voice is the one where you sit and you might be just talking to yourself, and then you start like letting a little more air come out with it. and maybe you start humming it, and maybe you start just letting a little more voice come out, just a little bit more. It's that voice that you allow just the self, who you are, to be able to come out, where you're not trying to force, oh, I've got to match that note, and oh, I've got to sing as loud as that person over there. It's more about tapping into yourself, and it's more about being able to get to a place where you can just, even if it's just speaking, you just speak it until you start putting more sound to it. But you let yourself do it. You let yourself do it. And then doing the breath work is where the volume and the length and the things come from. It does not come from your throat. The singing does not coming from is not coming from our throats. The singing comes from our diaphragm. And if you have really good breath work, um, you can practice playing with it. For me, it's allowing myself to go surfing. I like to go surfing. So for me, it's I go get a lot of breath. I fill up my diaphragm full of air, and then I let out that little note just come out on top of the air. And I just let that kind of surf for as long as I can. And then I do it again. And then I do it again. And I do it again. And then I might mimic a singer until I could get it down to what I'm hearing myself do. I did do that for a long time. I would lock myself in a room and mimic another style of singing until I could find my voice, you know. Um, it's like being able to get real with yourself and not trying to make everything so perfect. Perfection is not singing the best notes. It's about being able to grab onto that energy that's inside and find a way to let it express itself like it's just coming out of you. And more of the way I sing now is more like a channeled experience because I've learned how to let myself go and trust myself. It took a lot of time of building trust with myself, building breath work, and then just honestly trying different things and until I could figure out what it is that I needed to express. I'm not sure if that answers the question about it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah,
But from my perspective.
well, and what I love, like you're talking about trust, and trust is creating that opening. And I mean, what have you witnessed whenever somebody really lets their voice open?
Oh man, when you are letting yourself open like that, you're not abandoning yourself. You are saying what is true to you, and you're not trying to people please in the moment just because you think if I say this, then they'll like me, or that person will be okay with me, or they won't get upset, or whatever the reasons are why we're
Hmm.
stopping ourselves from using our voice. It's about stepping into the trust that what you are about to say is what you truly feel for yourself. And if you
Yeah.
can feel that for yourself, then don't you think everybody wants to hear what you truly feel? You know?
Hmm.
Or that little girl or that little boy that's inside of you is waiting for you to step up for yourself and say, "Hey, can you not abandon me again? You keep like saying okay to everybody, but I don't think it's okay. Can we do
Yeah.
it? Can we do what I think is okay for a minute, and then see how that
Hmm.
goes, expand from there." But it's hard for us to
Mm.
trust ourselves, as
Mm.
and all of us are in different situations and circumstances, and trying to find the way to navigate all the different pressures and tensions and stresses of life.
Well, and it's so beautiful. Like I love so yes, yum to all of that. And I'm also really hearing autonomy. And
Yes.
I feel like, almost all the people who registered for this event today are women. And it's because we are reactivating our voice, we're reactivating our role as the wisdom keeper, as the grid tenders. And whenever we look at the cultural conditioning, both men and women have had it hard, right? Like nobody's just like had a free pass, and we both have it a lot of fun. But there's definitely a need in our grounded society, day-to-day life, for women to step into their autonomy, to trust the unspoken, to trust that the external environment isn't actually mirroring a deeper truth that's inside of us. And singing is one of those ways that is really playful and sensual and creative to help us create trust with ourself, with our voice. And it's not about performance, it's about aliveness, intuition. And ultimately, when you lead your life from that place, you start to see the change that doesn't just occur inside of you, it has a ripple of impact. And so, that's a lot of what we're looking at when we go into harmonize, when we're going to these harmonized voice activation practices. Activism comes up, creativity comes up, sensuality, sexuality comes up. Shame has suppressed our voice. It's the number one reason for vocal shutdown. The health of our relationships and our community comes up because it is a direct tool and vessel to connection. And so I want to move a little bit deeper into wisdom keeping because that's such a profound tool for the voice and for the pieces that have been unspoken. And Maggie, I'm wondering, both of us play and we all cross-pollinate in these fields, but Maggie, could you tell us what it means to be a wisdom keeper in this time?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Marley. Um, I do wanted to just touch too, because you guys are talking about such beautiful things around opening the voice, is
Mhm.
that um, when we open our singing voice, it ha also has so much to do with opening our talking voice and being able to speak our truth when we need to, with love always, or speak up when we need to speak up. I so much session work I've been doing these past few weeks with people is actually the inner child that was just told to be quiet because it's safe. And so we learn that we're just safer when we're quiet and like kind of, more of that. But once you do these exercises that they're both talking about and start to really sing and play with the voice and work with harmonize as well, it's not going to just help your voice, your singing voice. It's going to help your voice on all layers and levels of how you communicate, how you talk, your leadership, and everything. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, that was just coming up really strongly. So thank you. And back to wisdom keeping. I I I think that we are very blessed to be on this earth at this time, and I actually probably have a different viewpoint on wisdom keepers because I um, believe that there are avatars sent to this planet, and they carry long lines of lineages, and most of these wisdom keepers that I'm aware of are actually not in the world at all. They are just holding a frequency. Some I know are for sure in the Himalayan mountains, high up in the Andes. These are people who have fully accessed the Akashic records, and you can ask them anything, and they'll just be able to tell you. Not that they've even had that experience, but because their crown chakra has fully been illuminated and enlightened. And so, I would say an avatar is someone that I would consider a wisdom keeper, and they would have access to all the records on this planet.
Amazing. I think, yes, right. And that's like, Maggie, tell us the answer to the whole universe. That is a really good, that's a very good one. And I think it's right. We all have like different touches. I would I agree with that. And I also think that we have aspects of Wisdom Keeper within us that might not be like the fully ascended masters.
Totally, totally, absolutely.
Like, because what can happen is we open up the ability to feel so safe in our body that we open up our channels and then we can tune to those frequencies of the lineage holders and we can begin to gather memories. This is my impression, and of course I know we're having a dialogue here. Um, we can begin to gather a signature of energy from different lineages, whether we're sitting in different devotional practices or we're in reverence with water and with nature or music and dance. And we can have these spontaneous moments of illumination, of realization um, that comes through. And you're welcome to keep building on this, but one thing that I feel like I witness in you holding wisdom around is like telos and mu. And part of the magic of Mount Shasta is this is a space where there's a remembrance of telos. And would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Telos is a civilization that is under Mount Shasta. And so these beings came from Lemuria and they went underground when things began to not be safe on the earth and there were really big shifts on the earth. And so they were safe. And many people say that you can't actually access Telos from your physical body because some people will go out looking for it. Most people say that you have to access it through the light body, which is mastering the heart and working with the Merkaba to go in that way. But the Telosians is what they're called, and they're from Lemuria. They are a very advanced civilization. They have a sun inside of Mount Shasta. And so they have light and are completely uh, self-sovereign. There's, beautiful gardens there, and you can kind of imagine it as an Eden. It's a really beautiful place and an ascended civilization. So they all live from their heart chakra. And yeah, there's many, many books on it. And so if that's piquing your interest, you can definitely look up some books or just on the interwebs more information.
Yeah, it's really incredible having like it's interesting with there's different spots where there's remembrances of Mu around the planet, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And you and I met in Hawaii, and so I've had very deep, deep remembrances of Mu and Lemuria in Hawaii, and I can sense those same frequencies when I go to other grid points like Bali, Indonesia, and Mount Shasta, but I've never had a direct experience myself with Telos and Mount Shasta. But what I can speak to is sort of like, well, why does this matter? Because I'm a Supertorian person. Like I'm here on this planet. It's 2026. Yeah, right. It's like, what's going on in the world that like is this dense material reality? And why does something like Lemuria, Telos, Atlantis, why do these things even matter? Is my hard knock question that I love to ask and answer as the veil is cleared increasingly. And so for me, living in Hawaii at the time where the veil just totally disappeared on so many multidimensional levels and figuring it out as it happened, Lemuria and Mu was it was brought in before Lemuria was Mu, was brought into the consciousness to show and give a direct imprint and experience of what it looked like to live in a life of complete harmony, of a civilization that was more energy based, where there was reciprocity through the movement of energy, and sound was a large part of that. It was very crystalline, high frequency, and there wasn't a sense of moving, distorting, controlling energy. And when what happened with the rise of Atlantis was Atlantis came in, the next civilization, and they worked more with streams of channeled energy, where it didn't just exist, it was contained and moved and shaped. And in the movement and containment and channeling of manifesting denser material form with energy, it meant that energy then was taken from other spaces. And that created dissonance. It created a lack, and it created essentially a sense of separation from totality, from interconnectedness. And when I asked, I went into the hard knock of like, why are you showing me this information? Why does any of this matter? I'm right here. it's very compelling. What came back was the experience of time as a infinite moment. And within the infinite moment of time, we can be in the multidimensional reality at once, and we can realize that what has happened is occurring again, and we have a new karmic cycle to learn from the past. And so when we look at the manipulation and control that was coming through, this sense of separation that increased with manifestation of energy rather than the allowance and presence and flow of life force energy, we can see that being repeated today with structures that are totally not in designed with the cohesiveness and consideration of the benefit of all, right? We see a lot of hoarding. We see a lot of entrapment. We see a lot of extraction. We see people not considering the sentience of all life, including the planet. And so, by reawakening the frequency, the templating, and the memories of Mu, Lemuria, of that time of pure harmony, we get to become emanations, beacons, lighthouses, and embodied in our qualities and our values and our ways of being with one another of that other civilization, even though it may not be commonly available or visible outside of ourselves. And that's to me a piece why these activations really matter. And I'm curious if you have anything to say to this. And Dawn, of course, I want you to feel really included in this conversation.
I am. Thank
Yeah,
you.
here we go. Yeah.
It's all beautiful. I love everything. Like I said, for me, this is definitely a calling. So I don't understand it. I just know that my heart is called to continue sharing my voice everywhere I go. And if anybody's feeling called to share their voices, they should definitely follow that.
Oh.
100%.
Mhm. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that too, Marley. That was really beautiful because why does it matter? And I would say, Lemuria was an ascended civilization. And so they were very advanced. They had advanced sciences, the sciences of divinity and the light body and understanding the energetics in, ways that most people go day to day completely unaware of. And so when we go to these sacred points where Lemuria was, and or even temples, a lot of the temples went underwater, but there's still, even if a temple is destroyed, there's still an etheric layer over a temple. And so that's why when people go to Egypt, they have all of these profound experiences. And it's because that temple is physically there, but then there's an etheric layer of that temple and that blueprint that is also still there from that time it was in activation. And you can tune into that through meditation and setting the intention. And so it's the same thing in Shasta. The Lemurian frequencies are still there, and we can tune into that specifically when we go to different vortexes and different water places and different areas around the mountain. There's different activations that's given to people. There's different remembrances that come online. And so that's why it's so important to go to the sacred sites, to go to, Hawaii, to go to Mount Shasta, for certain people's souls who have that recognition. And so when they feel that call, definitely follow that because there's
Yes.
probably some pieces of your soul that you're going to start to remember and come back into.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So well said. Just, wow, we could just keep, I feel like we could just keep this up, just keep talking it up and talking it up. But we're landing here. So what I want to do is I want to invite everybody into awareness of one of the reasons that we're gathering and sharing this is because we want to bring you closer. We want to bring you into this experience of visiting Mount Shasta. And so I'm going to share. Here, there's a Mount Shasta Miracle Retreat coming up. And this Mount Shasta Miracle Retreat, I'll walk you through. It's going to be in July this year, July 2026, and I'm going to be our primary teacher, of course, here with Maggie Rose and Don Renee. And each one of us are bringing a very unique perspective and unique gifts. And so for the Mount Shasta Miracle Retreat, we're really going to be working on taking time to slow down into the body, to deepen into the breath, so that we can begin to commune with nature the way that we've talked about here and start to develop the not only the neural pathways but the energetic meridians inside of our body so that we can be both rooted and reaching at all times, experiencing ourselves as the sentience of Gaia. Through this, we're going to be um, in a beautiful, healthy, kind-hearted, centered community. We're going to be working with daily guided meditation, yoga, and Harmonize voice activation. Harmonize is going to be a large part of this, teaching you about your energy bodies, how to open up your voice, how to go deep into the sacral, into your creativity. We'll be working with White Tantra as well. And the evenings, every evening, we're going to be having a beautiful fire where we have group song circles, we have freestyles, we have poetry and story share, activating our voices and just celebrating the day together. During the days, we're going to be visiting the sacred water sites. We're going to be going deeper into our ability as light workers, working with ancient water rituals and healing with that spring that Maggie told us about. She's brought me to that spring, and it's exactly what she says it is. We'll also be visiting Mount Shasta's dimensional gateways and discovering Telos. And I'm hoping to awaken our Telos remembrance within us. That's something that feels really yummy. It's going to be beautiful, locally prepared, organic, plant-based meals and teas. There will be ceremonies with all supplies and materials provided and instruments, and you can come with shared accommodations or your own. So it's just an overview of what we'll be doing with our daily activities, singing, lots of liberation, lots of healing. I will be including this as you receive the document so you can read more about us and what it is that we're going to be offering here. A little overview. It's a beautiful retreat. It's an absolutely beautiful retreat where we are. Like, been wanting to host here for 2 years and just so happy that Maggie and I were able to rein it in this year. Thanks, Mags. Um, and we would just love to have you with us. So, as a thank you for being here in this initial um, talk that we're doing together as a community, opening up our hearts and sharing our wisdom, um, if you have felt something tonight, if you've been feeling that call, if you hear Mount Shasta, if you hear the waters, not just an interest, but a pull. We're going to be gathering in Mount Shasta from July 12th to the 16th for this intimate retreat. And we would love to have you with us. If you would like to join us in this space, we're offering people that are here today a 10% discount for everyone who is live and listening to this recording. So if you're interested in that, send us an email at hello@gaiatemple.org and we'll begin to open up communication with you. We can answer your questions, we can get you set up, assign your room, bring your friends. It's going to be super fun. And yeah, this is for people who really want to come into this work and discover this inside of their body. So listening is a relationship. It's a relationship that happens with ourselves and with the earth. And we would love to have you with us. So feel free to send us any questions here. And Maggie and Don, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today to share your beauty and your wisdom and just so much heart. Is there anything that you ladies would like to say as we're landing the plane today?
I'm just super grateful for all of you for this opportunity to come together in community and to help others open up their voices so that the messages can be heard and so that our experiences can be shared and the wisdom can be heard. Thank you so much for doing this.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yes, I feel the power in this and really excited to see the gathering and who will be there and the co-creative practices and music that will take place. And I can feel it's going to be very powerful. So look forward to seeing you both there and everyone else who joined. So thank you, and have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for staying tuned through this whole episode. We're sending you so much love. I'm sending you love from Hawaii, Tennessee, all around the world. And reach out. Hello@GaiaTemple.org. Aloha.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.